Hi everyone, I'm Trilby Johnson, and what I'm loving here is the connectivity, the connection that's running and intertwining between so much of the talks we've heard. There's been many talks I am like, that's my story, that's my story, that's my story. So the topic I'm going to talk about may seem the total opposite. I'm going to be talking about loneliness. And yet it's probably one of the most basic and most experienced emotions that I think we all touch on at some point in our lives. The work I do on myself and with my clients is very much all about energy. I love energy and I love working with bodies. Bodies are amazing because they never lie. They're upfront. They're like kids and they're like animals. If they're grumpy, they let you know. When they're happy, they let you know. But I think it's up to us, the personality, to take the time to develop this. I spent a lot of time in my life alone, and for a long, long time, I thought that made me a bad person. Something was wrong with me. Why couldn't I fit in? Why did I have such a lack of connection in my life when that was the thing I desired most of all? One of my favorite mottos is know thyself. So perhaps that explains why. I'm a firm believer that we are creators of our lives, of everything. The shit, the happy moments, the misery, and I know that this can be confrontational to many people. And that's okay. We all are where we are. It makes sense to me. And having spent so much time alone, I've been able to connect the dots. And I've had to be brutally honest with myself in a very loving way. I never used to love myself. Although, let me correct that. I think I loved myself, but I bought into the crap other people told me about myself. I grew up in South Africa in a time of apartheid, where we were taught to fear each other, to hate each other, and we were taught about division. So we were always alone. Whether you were with people or not, you would be fearing the person next to you, behind you, around you, and that was irrespective of skin color. I've written quite a bit about racism, and as I say, there are no winners when it comes to racism. We all lose, because it's not true. And when we fail to connect to what is true, we deviate, which is all okay. It's an experience. So why I love bodies is because they're channels of energy. They give us the capacity to access information that's above and beyond the mind. And when I work with people and energy, for myself as well, there's a connection, it flows, and I'm no longer alone. And that's the part I love. And I think that's the part that I've held on to in those moments where I was desperate and I was alone. Max Ehrmann, in his Desiderata, one of the phrases is, many fears are born from fatigue and loneliness. And I could really, really relate to that. So we really need to dig deep into ourselves and find that place where we really know who we are. There was talk about your authentic fire. To get hold of that, grab it. Never let it go. Fan that flame, whatever you need to do. And never, ever give up on yourself. That's what I teach. That's what I live. It's taken me a long time to get to this point. And it's been, I think Trish mentioned it. You know, the gifts, when you get to the gifts, it's just amazing. When you can look at things that tore you to bits and you can say, thank you. I'm really glad I had that experience because it's made me stronger. So there's luckily now more awareness around loneliness, what with more awareness around mental health issues. I personally find people still don't directly address loneliness, so that's why I'm here. It can get hidden under symptoms of various mental health issues, depression, suicidal tendencies, addictions, whatever. And it's all okay. I think it's just about that person finding the answer for themselves and getting the guidance. I think for me the hardest thing has been because I grew up not feeling safe, not only in the country I lived in, but in my own home. I never felt safe. I didn't feel safe to be me. I didn't feel safe to walk outside my house. I was scared all the time. And you adapt. I adapted, as we all do. But that doesn't mean that that's the way I wanted my life to be. So it took many slaps on the face, raps on the knuckles, and kicks up the bum for me to decide, right, that's it, I've had enough. And to believe in myself enough to say, I'm changing this. So there's been many studies. I've studied a lot. I'm thirsty for knowledge because I somehow instinctively knew if I could find the information I needed, I could change my life. And that's what I like to offer people. I always like to say there's a solution for everything, no matter how bad things seem. But you have to ask for help. And of course, that's again a contradiction of loneliness. There's many kinds of loneliness. There's financial loneliness, and there's real solitude, where people find themselves alone, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So it's really important that we find ways to reach these people. I also do massage, and I love that this has now been incorporated more in the fields of psychiatry and psychology and offered as a solution for people who do live alone, because human touch is essential. We see this with babies. They just respond to touch, they need touch, they're always touching. We are tactile people, and we need to be more touchy, if I dare say. So in a positive way, and reach out to each other. So I was fortunate that at 18 I got to leave South Africa. I moved to Germany, West Berlin at that time, where again there was division. And I thought, can you see the theme? But the fact of having stepped outside of South Africa, it opened my eyes to so much. It's really true what they say, you don't know what you don't know. And when you're in the shit, you don't necessarily know you're in the shit. Even though you might say, it's smelly. you know. But I also say shit makes things grow. So that's something to keep in mind. Then after I left in April of '89, and in October, the wall came down. They just celebrated 30 years of the Berlin Wall down. I mean, nobody at that time when I was in West Berlin ever thought that's possible. So it just shows us when the people take back their power, they stand together, they connect to that connection that's in all of us, we are no longer alone, and we can and do change things. Then I moved to Switzerland, Geneva, probably there the same time as you. So Switzerland was like paradise after South Africa. It was just so different, and I just felt, probably for the first time in my life, free. I got a taste of freedom as an individual, as a woman. I wasn't harassed walking down the street. In fact, people didn't even look at me. It was wonderful. So, and yeah, just the culture there is just amazing. I just love the diversity, the eclectic, the taste, and yeah, I just loved it. And I stayed there for 20 years. I worked for a big corporate company. And yes, I was doing the stuff and learning, and it was enjoyable, absolutely. It financed my other alternative interests, which were alternative therapies. But I wasn't happy. So similar, someone said, well, have you thought of moving to New Zealand? We should. And a light bulb went off inside of me, and I thought, oh my God, yes, I'm doing it. And that was 12 years ago. So little did I know I was about to enter probably the hardest phase of my life. Good thing we don't know beforehand, hey? And yeah, I had left behind me 2 relationships. I had a third in New Zealand, which ended as well. And I finally thought, there's a pattern here, because I'm halfway across the world and the same shit's happening. What's going on? So I really made a conscious choice. I said, I'm not having another relationship until I've figured out my stuff, because I just don't want to go on repeating the same pattern. So it's interesting. I really got to explore emotions. What are they? Yeah, as woo-woo people, we say, you know, it's energy in motion. And I like that. But there's 3 aspects to emotions. We usually just think, oh, an emotion. But Hockenberry in 2007 actually identified 3 aspects. So there's a subjective experience, a physiological response, and a behavioral expressive response. And this gave me really hope, because I felt like I'd found the place, like Leonard Cohen's song, The Cracks Where the Light Gets In. And I thought, okay, that's where I get in. So I've slowly started changing feelings of loneliness, identifying why I feel lonely, digging in deep, being really honest with myself, and taking responsibility. And whereas before I felt really bad and shitty because I had the life I had and I felt so alone, I actually realized I'd offered myself a freedom. So in my values, freedom is up there. It's really important to me. And I think on some level, I just knew I couldn't have, I wanted to really know myself. And for that, my way of doing it is the way I've done it. And that's totally okay. It's really important, though, that we are there for each other And my journey basically has been one of self-love. As I said, I didn't love myself at all. And today I do. And it's amazing. It's really, really amazing. And I look at my alone time now totally different. I enjoy it. And because I'm happy with who I am, I can connect to other people in a different way. And I'm totally okay with that. My message to those who feel lonely is ask for help. And just keep at it. There are people, you've just got to find the right people. I managed to find the right people. There are people out there who you can reach out to. And also change the mindset. It's really important to stop looking, even mental health issues, as something wrong with the people. There's nothing wrong with them. They just don't have the skills yet to change what they desire. So that's a bit my story. And thank you so much for your time. I'm Trilby Johnson. Thank you for being here.